did, they knew Chris was this guy.
Yeah.
Momo, they knew this. They had him for 5 years. They were surprised that he was vocal and holding people accountable.
Yeah, they thought he was going to change his approach.
That's the inexcusable thing to me.
Yeah.
That they are now acting like they didn't know they didn't know what they were getting. They knew exactly what they were getting.
Even after he apologized, after Chris Paul got sent home by the Clippers, right after that late-night hotel meeting, the shocking Instagram post, and the wave of NBA chaos that followed, everyone was left wondering what really went down. Fans were arguing online, teammates kept quiet, and the front office took serious heat while Tyronn Lue brushed off any talk of beef between them. Then came that awkward Halloween story. Chris threw a party for his teammates, but only 3 people showed up. 3? That's just brutal. You can almost feel the secondhand embarrassment from that. That tiny moment said a lot about the tension, the cold vibes, and how distant the whole squad had become behind closed doors. Now, fresh reports spill way more tea about what actually went down between CP3 and the Clippers, and it's wild. The details explain why James Harden and Kawhi Leonard were apparently caught off guard, and why the locker room vibe never really clicked again. Once you hear everything, it suddenly makes sense why things fell apart so fast, and why the Clippers finally decided it was time to send him home.
Kawhi Leonard, not really a leader, great player.
Not
James
vocal,
Harden, great
vocal.
player, not vocal.
Yep.
Like, they're not bad leaders. They just don't really do it. That's not their thing. And so when you bring a guy like Chris Paul in, and you know him, he knows you, etc., he's gonna do what Chris Paul. He's gonna try to show leadership. So some of the things early on.
Chris Paul got sent home past midnight after that loss to the Heat. Then he dropped a post saying he'd been kicked off the team. Boom. Chaos everywhere. Social media went crazy because we're talking about the same guy the Clippers might one day retire a jersey for, and one of the smartest players ever to play basketball. Fans were stunned, asking the same thing. What happened that night? What did Chris do? And what did the team do to him?
Our underperformance. He had nothing to do with that. I take full responsibility for our record. We are not scapegoating Chris Paul. We have many to do with one incident or one meeting that did or did not happen. Some of our business, respectfully, I have to keep in-house, but this didn't come down to, just a one incident, one meeting. It just wasn't the right fit.
It all started the moment they brought Chris in. He signed that 1-year, $3.6 million veteran minimum deal this summer, expected to be the steady voice at the end of the bench, the calm leader the Clippers thought they needed. The problem? Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are the total opposite. They've got skill and respect, no doubt, but they're not exactly the talkative lead the huddle type. And behind the scenes, some players were already uneasy, whispering that CP3 might start cutting into their minutes. That tension was there from day one.
Put Russell Westbrook on your team and not play him. If you put Russell Westbrook on your team and don't play him, it's over. He is going to it's going to be he'll go nuts. He'll say, why aren't I playing? I don't understand. He's so competitive.
So Lawrence Frank, the front office guy, tried to calm everyone down. He told the players, hey, he's going to have a small role, nothing to worry about. But that already sounded sketchy. We're talking about a dude who just played all 82 games and still competes like he's 25. That's not the type to sit quietly at the end of the bench. We did not make this move.
Put Russell Westbrook on your team and not play him. If you put Russell Westbrook on your team and don't play him, it's over. He is going to it's going to be he'll go nuts. He'll say, why aren't I playing? I don't understand. He's so competitive.
It's like bringing in Russell Westbrook and saying, don't worry, he won't play much. He'll just chill on the sideline.
Sweet at the Rams game. And he threw a Halloween party, and then no one came. And after they get worked the first night in Utah, which is this great.
That is the saddest thing.
It was really
a Halloween party. And
like three players. I think Brad Beal came and Zubac and you're like, he's trying to build.
If LeBron throws a Halloween party, how many people
everyone's
do you think
gonna be
are
there
skipping it?
Yeah, think about this.
Podcast from LeBron's one.
Think about he's trying to be like, I'm going to try to help you build some culture.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring guys over to my house, or let's work out together. Let's have a Halloween party. His wife and he threw this party at the suite after the Halloween game, and like 3 players came. And I mean, so he's trying to fill the leadership void the way he does. And every time he did it, they would sort of recoil, like, ugh, I don't know, too much. And then they started losing. Like, they didn't win a game for 2 weeks. And he's not part of the solution. He's older, he's slower defensively. I think they're getting killed. They got to start putting some young guys in there. He's getting blown by defensively. So they go, hey, you're going to be out. We're going to try something new. They take him out. This is the first time he's gotten coach's decision DNP his entire career.
Yeah, like even going back to elementary school.
That's hard.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: the TikTok of the way it went down, because there was a delayed flight and then it didn't. Describe exactly?
Do you mean the last day?
Correct, the last day. The way that went down
with the president.
Good luck with that. But Chris took it in stride. He said, as long as I can compete, I'm good. I may be 41, but I can still go and help the team like a coach on the floor. Even with that mindset, the start was rocky. Once the season began, things got tense fast. Every time CP3 offered input, people got defensive. Some players were like, who is this guy to tell me how to do my job? One time he suggested a teammate adjust his training routine, and the Clippers staff didn't love that. It made him feel like he was stepping on toes. Chris didn't hold back either. He challenged players, spoke up about plays, and pushed for changes. Some saw it as leadership, others took it personally. But insiders say it wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. One team executive even admitted that's just how Chris is. He wears you down. He's convinced he's right. And honestly, most of the time he is, but it still gets under people's skin. And that exact trait would keep popping up all season long. Things got messy fast behind the scenes. During training camp, Chris was running the second unit, but he was dominating the starters. Ty Lue even gave him close to 20 minutes in the preseason, and people started whispering, wait, what happened to that small role they promised?
We released this, and at that point he was, not happy, and they were like, let's do this, okay? Let's put a statement out together. Yeah. We still want to retire your jersey one day, And he was like,
instead, Chris released it on social media at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That moment changed everything. Chris felt fired up, ready to lead, while some players were already annoyed. One person close to the team even said if all they wanted was a cheerleader, why sign Chris Paul in the first place? Then came opening night against the Utah Jazz. The Clippers got blown out by 21 points. Right after the game, Chris tried to pull everyone together for a team meeting in the locker room, but nobody showed real interest. A few nights later, after a win over New Orleans, he and his wife hosted a Halloween party at the arena, complete with food, decorations, the whole vibe meant for bonding. Only 3 players came: Ivica Zubac, Bradley Beal, and one other guy. That's it. The rest stayed home. It was awkward and honestly kind of sad, especially since it was supposed to help them come together.
He's trolling him. He's questioning the earnestness of that. I think he said something I can't say on TV at that point. It was a little harsh. And from that point on, things really got uncomfortable between those two. But also Ty Lue was saying, what happened between you and Van Gundy? There was meeting after meeting after meeting. Like, honestly, it was exhausting to me to report on this. I can't imagine living through this.
After that, the losing streak stretched on for nearly 2 weeks. To make it worse, some of those losses came against OKC and Phoenix teams Chris used to play for. He was heated because no one even asked him for insight on how to guard Devin Booker or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's when his frustration really started to boil. It's like the Clippers had this perfect image of how Chris would fit in. Quiet, supportive, just guiding from the bench. But that was completely different from what Chris had in mind. He wanted to compete, lead, and be hands-on. That mismatch didn't just bother players, it rubbed the coaches the wrong way too. There was that rumor floating around that Ty Lue and Chris weren't speaking for weeks. The truth, they were talking, but it wasn't friendly. Chris kept pushing Ty with ideas, more team meetings, tougher practices, stronger accountability. Meanwhile, Ty was hitting him back with, by the way, you're not playing tonight. Imagine hearing that for the first time in your entire career. You're not touching the floor. That's brutal. Once Chris started picking up those DNPs, things got ugly fast. The tension between him and Ty turned into straight-up dislike. And to make it even more fiery, assistant coach Jeff Van Gundy was there too, known for being just as opinionated as Chris. 2 strong voices, 1 locker room. You can guess how that went. Remember, Kawhi had just come back from injury when all this went down. During the game against Dallas, Chris Paul suggested switching defensive coverage on Klay Thompson because Kawhi looked a little winded. So John Collins picked up Klay instead, which technically was Jeff Van Gundy's call to make since he's the defensive coach. The switch didn't work, and that's when everything started spiraling. Van Gundy was furious, and on the team plane later that night, he went straight at Chris, and if you've ever heard how Jeff talks, you know he doesn't sugarcoat anything. Chris fired right back. He walked over to where Chris Dunn and Kawhi was sitting, had them stand up and said, "Hey, was that a suggestion I made, or was I telling you to switch?" Kawhi replied, "It was a suggestion." Chris shot back, "See, a suggestion. What's wrong with that?" That's when Van Gundy snapped, telling him, "You don't have that leeway here anymore." That line changed everything. It was the breaking point after months of tension. Chris had already been spoken to by the coaching staff, the front office, and Ty Lue multiple times, and now he'd hit the final warning. At that point, the Clippers decided they'd had enough. They didn't care that they were on the road losing games or that it was the middle of the night. They just wanted the drama gone. As one person put it, this is way too much chaos for the 12th guy on the bench. So Lawrence Frank, the front office exec, said he'd handle it personally. He wanted to tell Chris face to face, but things got delayed. Meetings, travel, logistics, and by the time it actually happened, it was close to 3 a.m. Chris was completely blindsided. He sat there in shock, realizing that after everything, his career, his leadership, his effort, it was over, just like that. Chris never saw it coming. When they called him in, he even brought Brooke Lopez with him for backup. Classic CP move. That's just how he operates. When someone disagrees with him, he'll rally others to prove his point and make sure you know he's right. But this time, the decision was already locked in. The front office told him straight, "Look, you going home, but you're a legend. We'll retire your jersey here someday." They even tried to soften the blow, suggesting a joint press release to make it look like a mutual decision. Chris wasn't having it. He reportedly said, "Hell nah," stormed out of the room and went straight to Instagram to post, "I just got sent home," and that confirmed everything. It wasn't one single explosion. It was a season full of small clashes that finally hit a breaking point on that plane with Jeff Van Gundy. And honestly, the Clippers fumbled this. They knew Chris's leadership style, intense, demanding, detail-obsessed, wasn't gonna mesh with a roster full of veterans and coaches who already had their own way of doing things. Once the losses piled up, it turned toxic fast. When Chris said, "Yo, Ty Lue didn't talk to me for weeks," that wasn't totally true. Ty did talk to him plenty. He just kept saying the same things and nothing changed. It reached a point where Ty probably thought, what's the use of having the same talk for the 100th time? And honestly, one comment summed it up perfectly. Throughout his career, Chris Paul has been tough on veterans, but an incredible leader for young players. To vets, his approach can feel controlling, maybe even patronizing. But to younger guys, it looks like passion and discipline, a mentor who cares about the details. On a team full of veterans already set in their ways, though, that energy hit different. Combine that with the fact that Chris, at 41, couldn't lead through his play the same way anymore, and the whole situation was doomed from the start. The fire that once made him a great leader just didn't fit in this locker room anymore. What a roller coaster that was, from locker room tension to that late night meeting. Crazy stuff. But now I've got to ask, what do you think really went wrong here? Was Chris just misunderstood, or did the Clippers completely mishandle it? Could his leadership still work on a different team? And be honest, if you were Ty Lue, would you have sent it home too? I really want to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, seriously. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Ball Stories for more wild behind-the-scenes NBA drama. And don't stop here. There's plenty more chaos and secrets waiting in our other videos, so go check those out next. Catch you in the next one. Peace. His approach can feel controlling, maybe even patronizing, but to younger guys, it looks like passion and discipline, a mentor who cares about the details. On a team full of veterans already set in their ways, though, that energy hit different. Combine that with the fact that Chris, at 41, couldn't lead through his play the same way anymore, and the whole situation was doomed from the start. The fire that once made him a great leader just didn't fit in this locker room anymore. What a roller coaster that was, from locker room tension to that late night meeting. Crazy stuff. But now I've got to ask, what do you think really went wrong here? Was Chris just misunderstood, or did the Clippers completely mishandle it? Could his leadership still work on a different team? And be honest, if you were Ty Lue, would you have sent him home too? I really want to hear what you think, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Seriously, if you enjoyed the story, make sure to hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Ball Stories for more wild behind-the-scenes NBA drama. And don't stop here. There's plenty more chaos and secrets waiting in our other videos, so go check those out next. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
ESPN reported that Jeff Van Gundy and Chris Paul clashed all season. Seriously, are we shocked? You remember Jeff as a broadcaster, right? Always opinionated and never backing down. Now picture that energy around Chris. Of course they butted heads. When I go to the writers to tell me who can guard in this league, I put a gun to my own head. Oh man, can you even picture Jeff Van Gundy and Chris Paul trying to work side by side? That was a ticking time bomb. And sure enough, everything finally exploded right after that Dallas game. The moment when all that tension behind the scenes came crashing out.